So many stripes that I've turned one shade. I'm afraid, cause I'm haunted by ghosts from my past.
So by contrast then, a couple years later, you guys release Bill Murray, which is like, that's an incredibly thoughtful song. Both, again, speaking about like the nuggets and Easter eggs within the tune, but also just like the heartbreaking, but then optimistic by the end of it, like way that the lyrics kind of turn out. And it's like, you know, it's like, well, I don't think you're using a pick in it, but that.
Oh, interesting. So.
Okay, all right.
So,
So here's the deal. We have Brock here. I'm gonna play. Brock's not gonna touch his fucking guitar. I'm gonna pretend that I know how to play all of the songs.
Oh,
Right?
it's
That's
cool.
how this is gonna work.
You might be the. Yeah, I can't think of many people who've even taken the time to learn, you know, our material. So kudos for that. First things first with the thing, like what I was thinking about when doing the, I had it in my head that like I saw it. Maybe it was like Guthrie Govan.
Yes. Yeah.
And he was saying like when funk players are doing like that.
Yeah.
That like they don't really do that.
Yeah.
Like I think funk players are more like. Because like all the rhythm is coming from like bass and hi-hats and all the rest,
of course,
right? So I was thinking like, because he took a jab at Corey Wong anyway. But like it was fresh in my mind as like clean up the funk. So when I was doing I was really trying to like pluck up instead of like what I would be more apt to do with like an acoustic cover set, which is play with all my might.
Yeah.
And getting those in. I really wanted the guitar track to just. Sorry, I'm tuned down.
Oh, dude.
So when we were composing the song, it used to just be one of those classic things, right? Because in this case, in like a lucid moment, wrote Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Everything but the chorus. I wrote those verses and went, Ian, I want to do a song about, you know, the feeling of like some people in this world just get liked, and perhaps rightly or wrongly, they're just universally liked by people, even if they're kind of a dick.
Yeah.
And then there's people you go, well, I'm as quippy or whatever, but no one likes me just on face value, right?
Yeah.
So he was like, cool, let's do it. And we just muscled through the three chords that work to write the song. Then when we got in the studio, it was like, okay, well, let's take it away from this, like, it used to have this whole, we were playing it like that.
Okay.
And it just kind of sounded dorky. So we, doing this, I started to think, okay, like other chords that could work in the key of G.
Yeah.
And I think of this chord, it's basically the B in second inversion.
Oh, okay.
But in my mind, I'm thinking about it like yeah, it's like the 5 of the 6. And again, I know you just finished saying like, I'm not a big music theory guy.
Yeah.
I'm not either, but like, because it resolves to the E minor.
Interesting.
So I didn't really think about it like.
Yeah, I immediately thought of it as like a dominant 7. Oh, the first time I thought it was diminished. I was immediately going like
right.
Like that sort of thing was like, yeah, initially, and then when I listened back to it, I was like, no, there's something like, yeah.
So it's just, yeah, I think about it as just B in second inversion.
Wow, fucking.
So then the only other chords there, the only other thing that was weird about the verses was like when I first learned guitar, the whole modus operandi was like play the song to speed. Like I would just put on my favorite records and the old knowledge of like very slowly and do it, you know, like play methodically. I was like, no. I would just hear a song and go, what are the chords in ultimate guitar? Okay, like let's say if it was Bill Murray was a pop punk song, I would be trying to play. So, but because my form was so poor, I would always bar my power chords like this, and I would get that high.
You've got the 13 in there every time. Okay. So
every time. So my poor technique, when I'm doing the Bill Murray verses, and to me, and then you know, some might intellectualize and go, notice how Brock goes to the add 9. I'm like, it's just always kind of there.
That's so cool.
And by plucking up, I just made sure I wouldn't. Every single one would have would have that in it.
Now, was that similar? Like, was that like a similar like happy accident with regards to like the chorus?
Yeah, B minor, C. Exactly.
Dude.
So just like same sort of like logic, but like instead of there, because like I mean, yeah, but it was like the same, the whole thing of like, oh, this top note, which is really the one you hear when you're doing a chord. Like,
yes.
if there's a singer sings that, they're just gonna hear that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so like I really wanted to like not step on the vocal when it goes away
Yeah.
by that point in the.
I'm uncool. I'm the uncle that everyone's been. I've been broke in every sense of the word.
So the only other weird thing with like Bill Murray was there was a chord in the bridge that I probably only play right 70% of the time.
Oh, okay.
And I tried to, like, you know, I don't know if you've seen those websites where like you can put in one fret at a time and it will tell you what the chord name is. So apparently the chord was called C6/9. I don't know if you, in your dense guitar knowledge,
C6 slash like a, oh fuck, dude, I don't even know yet.
it's basically just 2 stacked power chords. Like,
Dude. All right.
So, like-
I thought it was E minor. So here we go.
but again, it was like just going down the bridge thing. It was like, well, where do you go from there? Like, if the song ultimately has to get back to here,
Yeah.
just try and milk the same C
Dude.
chord,
That's
which making this really like, it sounds dissonant. So you're like, please resolve it, and then you give him the good old trusty tonic chord, and it's like, so really that song is just kind of trying to stretch out G further than when your demo was just, it's a 1-4-5 in G. It's like, well, that's lame. Like, what else can we do, right? So it's just even all the stuff that like kind of even like would seem out of key.
Yeah.
It's just like, as you say, well, if you think about it as a B dominant 7,
Yeah.
it's like, well, just kind of invert a B major, and then isn't that kind of right? So it's like, it's all like
Cool.
trying to make it quirky, and like exactly what you said about So Fine, like something that's just like the record kind of skips, so all of a sudden you're like, what was that, and why did you do that? And it's like, because it is just that it becomes that breath of fresh air that I'm sure Bill Murray would have been fine if we had just listened to our sensibilities and
Yeah. But it's made more you with the act of like trying to develop these melodic concepts
exactly.
in a way that's
So like I think that is the common thread, where it's like we could have stopped right there, and it's like it's like nothing is wrong with a 1-4-5, and so many songs have been written with it that it's almost like it's so difficult for Ian and I find to go, when we sit there and go, just as an exercise, let's do a song with 3 chords, because we know it's possible, and by the end of the session we've modulated, we've changed chord voicings, and we're like, we can't do it. So that still eludes us as like 3 chords in the truth. I don't know how, but I don't know how Tom Petty does it, but
what you're able to do starting out with 3 chords in the truth, though. It's interesting, man, because like, again, as we discussed off the topic, you and I have known each other for so long, and like your music has been so influential to me as a writer for, I mean, the last like 10, 15 years of my tenure like as a musician. And I mean, even that, just what you're saying right now is something that I still do without even thinking about it. I mean, I wrote a song recently, and it's on the first episode of the show, that's essentially like Wheat Kings. Like, it's
right.
G to a C. But I play it in 6/8 and I go, and that idea of like taking something so simple but just being like, I gotta do something else with it. You know,
Exactly.
I just can't. It's just not me to go. You know, it's a big Dave Matthews thing as well, which of course you know I'm fucking crazy about. But
exactly, and,
yeah.
and that to me is something where, you know, the dexterous side of guitar is the only side after all this time that I don't even like gravitate towards it. Even if there's like, you know, something vaguely acrobatic or histrionic about doing these like slash chords and stuff. It's like, but I really like even playing in 3/4 to this day for me is something that it's like I lose the pulse. It just becomes 4/4, and like I'm not one of those songwriters that can just sit there
Really?
and I think a lot of that is like if you ever want your singer just to sound good, like singers doing anything over a 3/4,
Oh yeah.
it's just an excuse. Like "Love on the Brain" by Rihanna, just as the
Yeah.
first example that comes to mind. Like or like Tennessee Whiskey. It's like
Yeah.
anytime a singer's just doing 3/4, you just kind of know they're going to be an amazing singer over it. But as I don't sing for the band,
Yeah.
I think I kind of just like look at 3/4 as like, no, I want to count to 4 and start over and keep it relatively simple because to
course.
me that's just I think too much if I'm like
Yeah.
have to count.
Yeah, but I mean, like these limitations that you're like that you're outlining right now have led you to like an incredible career in music. I'm a big like I am always talking about ignore your weaknesses, cultivate your strengths. That's a big thing for me.
I
It's like
agree.
I don't know how to read. Well, I know how to read. I don't know how to read music. And I'm not
I still
gonna
struggle with reading.
I'm not gonna try. Yeah, fucking do. If it's got pictures to it, if it's
Yeah.
called Old Man Logan, I'll finish that bitch in 6 seconds. But anything else, you want me to read Vonnegut? Go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Like fucking. But though that concept of just like cultivating your strengths, as my like myself included. I mean, I've been able to like I made a living for like a long time and still do like as a guitarist that like I just do my thing. When I get hired for my thing. And they're like, yeah, play Wagon Wheel. I'm like, I'll play Wagon Wheel, but I'm going to play my Wagon Wheel.
Exactly.
And like it's great and it's inspiring too because like, again, you as a guitarist, we can't help but like go on Instagram at the end of the night as we're trying to fall asleep and find some like 8-year-old Sudanese child that's like playing 8-finger tapping and be like, fuck me, dude. I got to get up tomorrow and I'm throwing this in the fireplace.
Right.
But then you come away with it with like, everyone else appreciates you for exactly what you're doing. And is that not the beauty of songwriting? Is like understanding that every person that picks up an instrument and goes to develop this craft has their own unique voice that is equally as valid as Pat Metheny or Beyonce or Tom Waits or whatever. It's like, that's beautiful, truthfully.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think it's because, those creatively inclined, I think like early on they have this like great taste or at least an appetite for like, I know what I like. And even if it is, it's like, I want to do these like complex chord voicings and rhythm, but smooth vocals over top of it. It's like, well, when you're 16, like, dare I say you learn more about guitar later than when you start, right? So I think like the first couple years of any creative career, you're playing catch up to like, I know what I like,
Yeah.
but I'm just starting. And like,
Yeah.
you put lyrics to stuff and like, this, some of my first lyrics I've ever wrote, like I'll blush if I look at them. It's like, oh God,
Yeah.
what was I thinking, right?
Yeah.
But it's the doing that's more important.
Of course.
And then, yeah, and especially nowadays with like very real time reaction of like you put a song out and it's not hot, like
Yeah.
you'll know. And
Yeah.
then you can instantly be like, well, was it a fluke? Can I try that again? And
Yeah.
after enough data points, you can just, as you say, learn what your strengths even are because, the arrogance of youth or whatever would be like, I don't have weaknesses.
Yeah. Yeah.
You haven't done enough to even know what those weaknesses could possibly be. So
Yeah.
it's very easy and honestly probably beneficial to tell yourself in the early days, I don't have weaknesses because the inhibition will get you
course.
every time.